Hey there, I'm Sully, and as always, welcome to the Gun Club. Alrighty, got kind of a short stream tonight. I'm going to put it out on both the YouTube and on Rumble. Trying to get the message out on this stuff with the pistol brace stuff because, we've talked about it in Pistol Brace Part 1 and a couple of the weekly streams, and I'm just a little bit concerned. I'm worried. Bothered that people don't hear what's going on or people are unaware, it can get them in trouble. And we've been dealing with pistol braces a lot, and as you know, it's kind of a difficult situation. People bought something for years, and well, it was totally legit and totally fine and totally cool to have, and now all of a sudden, well, it's a federal felony to have it. So as a result of that, I'm kind of worried about us getting someone in trouble, a member of our community, our 2A community, going out there and something bad happening, and all of a sudden, well, guess what? Now all of a sudden that they are, you know, federal felons as a result of it. So it could be really a bad day for them and a bad day for the whole 2A community. I'm hoping we can get our collective heads out of our asses and deal with this as best we can. Going to give a few minutes for everyone to sort of file in here. If we have anyone filing in, I don't know. Like I said, I did put it out both on YouTube and on Rumble. We do a lot more on Rumble than I do on YouTube just because of the fact that I'm conscious a little bit of what we talk about with firearms and lethal force encounters and some of the stuff like that. So if you are looking to find out more about what we do or see more of our content, we do pretty much at least once or twice a week a show on Rumble. I try to get out on YouTube when I can. I do post some of the clips from that show over to Rumble or over to YouTube just to go ahead and do that. But I know that some of the stuff that YouTube is a little bit concerned about what gets live streamed, and I'm fine with that. For those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Mike Sullivan. I'm a firearms instructor in upstate South Carolina, also a semi-retired paramedic after about 20 plus years on the road. Worked EMS, I've worked fire, and had a brief career in law enforcement. Wasn't really my thing, didn't really do much for me, but I did enjoy, some of the stuff I did enjoy. Learning a lot. I worked with some great people, so that was always fun. And when we started this channel, it was where can we go to share stuff, to talk guns, to talk all things guns, anything about guns. I'm always into talking about guns. I enjoy firearms. I understand, yes, there's a danger to them, but I also understand that, hey, guns are what they are. They're a simple fact of life. Everybody, doesn't need one. Everybody doesn't need to necessarily have one. But if someone wants to have one, wants to be a responsible firearms owner, I think it's part of the job of those of us who have gone down that road to responsible, intelligent firearms ownership and utilization to help these people learn to do it right, to learn to do it safe, and to share our wisdom and our knowledge and be basically good ambassadors to the 2A community, to the firearms community. So from that standpoint, I'm all aboard with sharing information. That's kind of why I did this. I thought I had a message to try to get out. Therefore, we're going to build up my channel, try to see what we can do from there. System seems to be having a little bit of problem getting all the streams started here. Trying to make sure everything is running. If you're live on YouTube or Rumble, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that we're on there. I'm sort of trying to see where we're catching up, if we're catching streams or if we're not. Let's see here. If you hadn't read what we're talking about tonight, my big point tonight is about pistol braces. And I know some of you may not know what a pistol brace is, and we'll get into some of the details on that later. We did a pistol braces part 1 a little while back. I posted it it was a live stream we did on Rumble. I posted clips of it onto YouTube. Just trying to share information. Trying to get information out there. To me, I think pistol braces, when I discovered them, it was probably about 3-4 years ago. It was an interesting concept. Got a couple of them, and we'll talk about how that's sort of modified up through until today. Alrighty. Let's see here. We got anyone in the chat? No. Okay. So let's talk real quickly on pistol braces. And again, this could be a fairly short stream tonight. Again, not a lot of detail. Pistol braces, if you're not familiar, very simply, this is a pistol brace. This was by SB Tacticals, the company that made it. And what it was designed to do, basically allow people to operate a larger gun one-handed or with limited hand strength, limited grip, limited dexterity. It could be used by either people with disabilities, elderly people. I've had shooters fire these with rheumatoid arthritis. It helps them control it. What it does is basically off the buffer tube of an AR-15, it comes down here and you can strap it to your arm. When it's in place, looks something like this. Now, as you can see there, what's happening? The excess weight of that firearm is cantilevered back onto the forearm, and so that allows the weight to be managed more successfully, allows the weight to be controlled more successfully, overall makes it safer. Now, does it change the rate of fire? No. Does it make it automatic? No. Is it any way, shape, or form related to one of those bump stock things? No. Not even in the same. Okay, it attaches on the same part of the gun on the back end, but that's about it. It doesn't work as a bump stock, doesn't make it automatic, doesn't change the rate of fire, doesn't change the way the firearm functions at all. It just allows somebody one-handed to control that firearm more easily and have the weight of that partially borne on the wrist. Only thing it changes. These devices came out back in around 2012. As a matter of fact, if you look at the logo on the back end of this one, this SB Tactical right up there on the top center of that was the company that developed the concept. They said, this would be really cool. They had disabled veterans, people who wanted to use pistols for target shooting, people with, again, limited grip dexterity. At that point, they got approval from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, at the national level for these to be used as pistol braces. This did not make that gun into a rifle. They said it was not a stock. It was clearly not intended to shoulder fire the weapon. If you look at it, while it does have a flat side to it that you could try to shoulder fire the weapon, it's very short. If you look at that compared to the average rifle, you're pretty much up here, no way to really effectively shoulder fire it. Now, I won't say that nobody ever has, and perhaps you're out there and you've got those really short arms. I know a couple of people, one who's got very, very short arms and thought that made the greatest little miniature stock. So, that's not what it is. Could it function as that? Yes, but wasn't its intended use ever. Doesn't function very well in that use. And quite frankly, there are stocks out there, millions of designs, we'll talk about some of them later, that make a hell of a lot better stock than that does. But those braces were approved as pistol braces, pistol brace supports, pistol arm braces, different terms, by the ATF since 2012. In 2014, there was a debate as to whether or not they were actually rifle stocks. What if someone did shoulder fire it? Did that make it a stock? They said no, because it's clearly not the intended use. It's not what it's designed for. It's got a Velcro webbing strap around. It's not even that solid. Trying to get a good cheek weld on there, or any of your common rifle manipulations, I've tried to shoulder fire them. It doesn't work very well. And if you want a shoulder fired rifle, trust me, again, there's a million ways to do it better. But because this was a pistol brace, the barrel and the size and the overall length of the firearm was allowed to be smaller, much like pistols are, smaller than rifles. Rifle, big thing, pistol, small thing. We'll go simple. Now, so we've got these pistol braces. Since 2012, there have been between 10 and 40 million of them sold by different companies, whether it's SIG, whether it's SB Tactical, Different companies have designed them. Q designed their Honey Badger with it, a variant or some style of a pistol brace. And everybody knew they were pistol braces. I got involved, saw them about 3 years ago, and thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. Now, I don't necessarily need a brace to fire it, but to me, it was a nice way to have a commonly available optional AR platform, but in a smaller length. And again, to fire it one-handed, to control it one-handed, made it a lot easier. So that's how we come up with the concept of the AR-15 pistol frame, a smaller AR in a pistol configuration. It doesn't have a stock on it. You're not shoulder firing it. It's not a long gun. It's a small pistol. Well, unfortunately, in January of this year, the ATF changed their mind. They changed their mind from what's been going on since 2012. So again, it's been approved for over 10 years and sold 40 million of them, or up to 40 million of them in up to 10 years. And now they're saying that this pistol brace clearly makes the gun a rifle. It's clearly a rifle stock. Now, to me, it doesn't look like much of a rifle stock to me. Again, I've tried to operate them in that configuration and never had a great deal of luck with them. I actually got to the point, got very frustrated. These have been totally legal, not considered a stock since 2012. So the rifle is considered a pistol and not a shorty rifle or a short-barreled rifle. A short-barreled rifle, if you're not familiar, is a very, very special item. It is an NFA item. Any rifle that's got a barrel under 16 inches is a short-barreled rifle. Now, you can go to the gun store. I can go to a gun store here, South Carolina, where I live. I can buy a pistol. I can buy a shotgun. I can buy a rifle. I go through, as buying from any dealer, any FFL dealer, whether at a gun show or not, whether at a storefront or not, I go through a standard federal NICS background check. They run my stuff. It comes back good. I walk out the door usually a few hours later with my firearm of whatever flavor I bought. However, if it is a short-barreled rifle, that's a totally different world. I have literally opened Pandora's box. They are highly restricted by the National Firearms Act. And because of all the fancy NFA regulations, well, guess what? You have to go through about 6 months to a year of background checks. You have to submit federal fingerprints. Well, they've already ID'd you to buy any firearm, but no, fingerprints. You've got to get special tax stamps, special documentation. Plus, once you own this item, even though it's yours that you legally bought, any of the first three, the pistol, the rifle, the shotgun, I can take and go any place that I can legally possess and own that weapon. If it's an SBR, it's in that special Pandora's box category over here. We've got to actually get permission to cross state lines with it. You've got to have all sorts of special documentation. It basically creates a major mess. Well, when in January of this year, they decided that these items that have been braces, pistol stabilizing braces, pistol arm braces, they've decided that these, although they've been that for 10 years, they're not. They're really actually stocks. As a result, when they reclassify it as stocks, they make that small pistol into a rifle, a short-barreled rifle, which makes it illegal to have unless you've gone through all that extra drama and extra bullshit. There you see where our problem is coming in, folks. People have bought these. People have these. And this is where I talked about in the beginning. I'm concerned about people getting in trouble for having these. Something they bought in good faith from a reputable gun dealer that was totally legal to sell, to own, to purchase, to have, to do anything with up until January of this year. Been on the market for 10 years. 40 million of them out there. Well, now they can potentially become illegal overnight. Now, they did have a 120-day waiting period, so enforcement of this is not beginning until 5/31, which, as you know, is rapidly approaching. June 1st, if you've got one of these, you could be a federal felon. You could get 10 years per pistol brace. Now, normally, people who are not following something, if they don't follow gun channels like this, if they're not reading all the USCCA or NRA or GOA magazines or NAGR, any of the great groups, if they're not on top of all that, you can miss out on things. I missed out on buying Bitcoin when it was at 50. Wish I had. I missed out on buying Microsoft at 50. I wish I had. Missed out on buying Apple at 50. Wish I had. But okay, you miss out on something, you miss out. In this case, if someone does not realize all the legal stuff that's coming down related to these, they don't just miss out on something good happening, something really bad can happen. And we'll talk about that. Because that totally legal item, that when they went to bed on May 31st, is a 10-year federal felony when they get up that morning. And that's the problem. Now, I put on there a big red asterisk, unless the courts intervene. We're hoping the courts do. There are several groups that have filed lawsuits. States have filed lawsuits. States' AGs have filed lawsuits. This has been brought up in Congress extensively. I know Thomas Massey from Kentucky has been on the battlefield with this. I know Byron Donalds out of Florida has been on the battlefields with this stuff. Because unfortunately, this little regulation trick, that's not even really a law change, it went through Congress, this regulation paperwork check off the change by the ATF can make 40 million Americans felons overnight. And make no mistake, if you're a federal felon, your pistol brace is the least you need to worry about because you'll be prohibited from owning any firearms. Imagine that. So if you have one of these, we need to get the word out to everybody who's got one. Please, please, please let them know, hey, look, if you get a brace, make sure you're doing something with it. You got a plan for it. You know what you're going to do with this evil pistol brace that was totally legal last month. Because what's going to happen? Somewhere in our country, some poor guy or girl or person or family is going to have one or two of these. Maybe they've got it for someone in the family who's disabled. Maybe they've got it for an older relative. Maybe they got it for a young kid because it's a smaller package. Whatever, whoever they bought it for. That simple rifle that was totally legal ain't anymore. And we'll see where we get into it here. Now, if you own one of the devices, you've got choices and you've got to do it by the deadline on 5/31. First off, you can reconfigure the firearm such a way as to make it a legal rifle, make it legal. So we take that shorter barrel off of it, put a longer barrel on it. That's one option. We can take the brace off the other end and do different things with that. And I'm going to show you what I've done with a couple of things out of my collection that I did, one for me, one for a friend. Basically because, hey, look, what could we do to make these things legal? Because I didn't want to be caught with one on June 1st or June 5th or anything else. Personally, I'm hoping Congress gets this all taken care of. Ideally, Congress gets the whole short-barreled rifle requirements removed and gotten rid of. They make no sense. If you can buy a pistol, you should be able to buy a rifle. Well, you can, as long as the barrel is 16 inches. 15 and a half, it somehow became a lot worse. So if you know anything about ballistics and rifle data and everything else, the longer the barrel, the more powerful it is. So if you have a 16-inch barrel rifle, that's fine. If you have a 10-inch barrel rifle that's less powerful, that's not fine. Again, they could do away with that. Congress, if you're listening, please work with us on this one. We're trying to be, as most gun owners are, pretty much law-abiding citizens. Typically more law-abiding than a lot. What do we have? We've got drama from this pistol brace drama. So let's look a little further. You can complete all the requirements to register it as an SBR. Now, the ATF is being nice. Typically, if you were going to go out to buy an SBR that you wanted to get right from the get-go, that's a $200 per item tax. That's a one-time, but it's $200 tax every time it's transferred, and there's a bunch of requirements. Well, all the requirements they're keeping, they're going to waive the $200 on this if I wanted to register one of my devices as a SBR. But it comes with all the strings attached. especially as far as how it has to be stored, how you have to get permission from the ATF if you cross state lines with it, stuff like that that doesn't make sense. And in some states, SBRs are totally illegal to begin with. Now, fortunately, South Carolina's got decent laws on that, so that's not one of my problems. But I didn't want to have to ask the feds permission to take my gun across a state line. If I'm legal to own it here and I'm legal to own it there, why do I have to say Mother May I to take it somewhere? That's just paperwork I don't want to have to deal with. Okay. Well, you can destroy it. Okay. You can take it and you can surrender it to the ATF or local law enforcement. So, I mean, I guess if you've decided that that pistol brace and that, item you made or bought or purchased, whatever, and you just don't want it anymore, you can give it away to them. Now, I will say, if you want to give away one of these items because you just don't want it, you don't want to fool with it, you've got too many guns in your collection, or you just don't want to own guns anymore, if that ever comes up in your world, hey, here you go. My email is down on the bottom of this. Feel free to email me. It's mike.southeastdefense@gmail.com, or contact me on our Twitter feed, on our Facebook feed, even on our locals community. Hit me up on Rumble for all I care. Any of the above, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to take that nasty firearm off your hands. I'll give it a good home, make sure it gets properly fed, watered, and lubricated, because I wouldn't want you to have to feel like you had to have a bad gun around you just didn't want, especially since, pistol braces are such a big deal. And don't get me started, because this is one more time of they're passing rules, regulations. Again, it's not a law. It never went through Congress, nor has it been signed by anyone in the White House. It's a regulation that has come down from the ATF, regulating something that is virtually never used in crime. If these are used in 20 murders a year nationwide, I'd be surprised. But we're going to worry about this. We're going to solve a problem that doesn't exist. They're good at that sometimes with firearm rules. Now, the last option, I don't recommend it, is rolling the dice. Basically, you bought it, you don't get it out much, you keep it around the house, you keep it the way you like it, and hope you never run into anyone who's a Fed or anyone in law enforcement who knows about it. I don't recommend that, folks. We, as firearm owners, know we're under a microscope. Let's be responsible, intelligent firearm owners. Let's work within the boundaries of the law. And on the other side of that coin, I'm going to show you some really cool changes and tweaks you can do to fix your pistol brace, or braced pistol, so to speak, and make it into a legal configuration, doing that option 1 up there. Option 2's got paperwork. Option 3, no, I ain't destroying my guns. Sorry, can't do it. I'm not going to take it out in the yard and smear it with peanut butter, no matter how many people think I need to. But what can I do? Well, let's look at some of these. These were my 2 children, my babies that I had. Now, the one up on the top left, again, clearly pistol operation, one-handed, not designed to be anything like a rifle. The one down on the bottom, a little bit longer. It was about a 10-inch barrel on it. And again, it had a pistol stabilizing brace. Was both, again, totally legal. And they are still legal tonight in that configuration. The longer one was a 300 Blackout, a 300 AAC. It had a 10-inch barrel on it. Totally legal in that configuration with the brace on the back of it. But where do we go from here? Now, I got this and put it together and was working on it. Having the slightly shorter barrel gave me some more options as far as what I wanted beyond the barrel. And so from that standpoint, I kind of liked that 300 Blackout. It was, again, a totally legal firearm that becomes illegal when I wake up June 1st. So what do I want to do with that 300 Blackout? Well, I decided the easiest thing I could do with it is just convert it over to a rifle. So I started looking around for options, looking for places to buy stuff. Now, I found this. We got a 5.56 barrel, standard AR barrel, not the 300 Blackout. It's a 16-inch barrel, which means it's no longer a short barreled rifle. Remember, 10.5-inch barrel, very, very bad. 16-inch barrel, yeah, sure, cool, whatever. Now, this one, instead of having the standard rear charging, is a design brought from Bear Creek Arsenal up in North Carolina, and it's got a side charging handle. And I was kind of zoomed in on that here on the bottom picture. You can see, let me blow that up a little bigger for you. The whole concept of it for me was that side charging handle was kind of cool, kind of unique, kind of different. And as far as if I was doing something and I was, again, taking my 300, I was getting rid of it, and I can convert it with this. This was not, an extremely expensive modification. It was the upper for it with the barrel, charging group, bolt carrier group, charging handle, the side charger, everything was under $300. And again, I've been very pleased with it. I've always been pretty well pleased with Bear Creek stuff. So I looked at it and was looking for their stuff. I said, wow, got a good deal on that. And again, a little side charging handle for something a little bit unique, a little bit fun. Now, went ahead, put that on the top. I've got the side charging handle. I transferred the optic over. Now, because it's long enough to be a real rifle, I was able to put a real stock on it. Even though they considered the old brace as going to be now considered a stock, to me, it was never a stock. I could never use it as a stock. It was not long enough. It was not comfortable. It did not mesh in real well with me. I've got kind of longer arms. I'm kind of a bigger dude. No. So I went ahead and I got a nice Magpul STR stock on it. Very nice. That was about a $50, $60 mod. Very simple. Slid the old brace off there, threw it over in the gun parts box, and then went ahead, put the butt on, and have the new upper on there. So what have I done? Just modified that out, taken the potentially short-barreled rifle and made it a legal rifle, which is actually more powerful than the short-barreled rifle would have been, but not as regulated, because gun laws make sense. Now, I had another one I had to work on. Now, this one was kind of interesting. When I created this little monstrosity here, it was a 5.56, which is, again, standard AR-15 caliber, and that 5.56 had about an 8-inch barrel on it. If you look, it's got a SIG Romeo 5 red dot on top. If that's not working for whatever reason, I've got a little pop-up sight on the front end of it that I can co-witness with, or that I can use as just solo sight. Very much designed as a one-handed gun, designed to be fired as a pistol. It was also designed to be something that I could easily carry with me when I'm going hiking, camping, whatever, backpacking. Designed to be a nice little camp gun. It had more power than what a standard sidearm would have, such as a 9mm or a 38, 357, but it wasn't going to be as big and bulky as a full frame AR. It had the quick disconnect attachment right at the base of the right at the back of the brace there, and I could actually throw it on a QD sling and sling it on my back when I was hiking, or if I was doing anything outside in the woods, in the wilderness, whatever. But if I happened to run up on a boar or something like that, I had a little bit more protection than a standard sidearm would, or if you ran up on a coyote. Now, hey, before I get any hate mail, I understand that I'm in their wilderness. I personally think we can peacefully coexist in their wilderness. I don't want to do anything to them in their wilderness. And as long as they're cool with me being out there and peacefully coexisting with me, you know what? I see them, I start going the other way. But then again, I live in an area where we've seen aggressive coyotes in backyards in my neighborhood. We've had dogs in my neighborhood put out on the line and disappear. We've had rumors of panthers prowling at night in my neighborhood. I've lived in a place where we have black bears routinely come in and go through trash cans. So again, if I'm out doing something, that's a nice shorty to have with me. A little bit more than a standard sidearm, but not, again, the weight and bulk of slogging an AR around. So I wanted to keep this one short and sweet and to the point. Well, if I was going to keep it short and sweet, what was my other option? Okay, get rid of the brace. So, in order to get rid of the brace and be legit and legal, I went ahead and just swapped out the buffer tube as a whole and put the new buffer tube on with a little buffer. It's got a little rubberized cover on the end of it. It definitely can't be called a brace or a stock or anything like that, although it does still have the buffer tube and the buffer and buffer spring of the AR. Now, this one took a little bit more bench know-how. It took, knowing how to clear a castle nut and end plate, but from that standpoint, it was not a difficult thing to do. If you're not familiar with it, before you start messing around, unscrewing and swapping parts out, talk to your local gunsmith, talk to someone who knows, who works with ARs. There's a couple of little T90 springs that you deal with in this that you really don't want to lose them. Last thing you want to hear is a spring of, okay, it landed somewhere on the carpet or it landed somewhere in the yard. Yeah. So again, simple change. This is basically the same firearm as it was, but now the nasty pistol brace is a simple buffer tube. Now, to think that one of them is totally legal and one of them is going to become a 10-year felony, that's your felony. That's not your felony. Again, because gun laws make so much sense. I understand that people want to pass something, and, I understand there's a lot of people who are very gung-ho to pass anything gun law-wise. I just got to say, folks, why are we making something illegal that's been around for 10 years that we don't see used in massive amounts of crime, that we don't see anything, happening with it? But, oh well, what do I know? Folks, that's all I have really got for this evening. If you have any questions on this stuff, or if I can help you with anything, please reach out to me. Like I said, my biggest thing, and I'm doing a lot of these streams about braces and the stuff. Number one, because, okay, let's face it, if I think the law is kind of stupid that one is such a big deal and the other one's not. But even more so, think about somebody who went out, got this for a camping gun, a cabin gun, knock around, even just throw in their backpack or throw in a sling when they're horseback riding in case they come up on who knows what wants to eat them or their horse. And all of a sudden, that device on the buttstock of it is now worth 10 years in a federal pen. No, thank you. But if they're not aware of it and they don't know about it, it's the old story, ignorance of the law is no excuse. But on the other side of the coin, it's not really fair to say, oh, by the way, here's the new rule that we wrote. You've got 120 days to get rid of your property, destroy it, or modify it. I think that's a little bit wrong. Grandfather our old stuff in. We'd be happy. Look at it and say, okay, these shorties don't really make a deal. I'd be fine with that. Remember, that's right there considered to be so much more powerful than that one. Yeah, they look about the same. They are. Alrighty. As far as the channel goes, folks, if you have any questions about this or anything else, you got my email. I popped it up on the screen before. Please feel free to drop me a note. If there's something you want to see or something you're looking for, please let me know. If you would, be so kind. If you like this, if you're enjoying this content, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, hit the Rumble button, whatever the case may be. Share this out to your friends. There are people among us in the 2A community, law-abiding, decent firearm owners, who are going to suddenly find themselves with a federal felony charge. And why is it? Because they bought something that was totally legal and they're not following, and they may not realize that what they've even got is a pistol brace. They may think it's an arm brace. They may not know what it is. We need to make sure the word is out in our community. Folks, if you've got one, do something with it. Do something smart with it. Don't tear it up. Don't destroy it. Don't throw it in the wood chipper. Don't take it out and shoot it. Well, Take it out to the range and shoot with it, but don't take it out and shoot it and put it out of its misery. If you want to, you got to give it away. You can get in contact with me. I'm adopting Lost and Lonely Firearms, always am. Again, check us out. If you want to find more videos, check out our library on rumble.com. We do a bunch. That's all I've got. Folks, be safe, be smart. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Take it easy. Bye.